time. Hello. Hello, everybody. We do have people trickling in. Hello to Martine.
Hello.
Hello to Ruby. Happy Saturday. It does feel a little weird to do a Saturday. I frequently do them on Sunday for no reason, but it's Saturday. And we're
Yeah.
here for Shelf's Book Club, in which
Yay.
Natalie picked the book this month. What month was this for? November?
November.
I think November.
My birthday month.
I'm excited to chat about it. I know I read it a little while ago. I know most of the others read it a little while ago. I'm not sure who all finished it is coming today, but I'm excited to see what everyone thought. I do have Natalie linked down below and the book club linked in the description as well. I'm pulling up my rating for this book just to make sure what I say is the correct thing. Did I never rate this book on my spreadsheet? That would be crazy.
Yeah. No, last night I was like, wait, what do I want to rate this book? Like, I've been waffling on what I want to rate it. And I was like, I need to lock in an answer before
Okay,
this meeting.
Bookly is which I track on as well. Okay, should me or you pitch the book? Do you want me to, or would you like to? Just basic blanket what this book was about. I could do it if you want me to.
I can try and do it.
Okay.
You would think I would be good at doing that because I'd be doing that all the time, but I'm like,
I don't. I hardly ever describe books except for this book club.
All right. So this book is a young adult contemporary novel following Tess, who I believe she was 16, 17, has an abortion, and her friends from the church find out, and this causes some issues for her because obviously they are very opposed to abortion, and she kind of needs to restart her life, kind of find her footing a little bit more in this community, maybe mend some relationships, make some new friends, find what she wants to do with her faith and being part of the church and all that stuff. So those are some of the main things. This is a retelling of the Scarlet Letter, which I read a gajillion years ago back in high school. So I was like, I don't really remember that story, so I can't compare.
I've never read the Scarlet Letter, but there's been many an adaptation of the Scarlet Letter. So the concept, I think most people know. If you've ever seen Easy A in your life, right?
Oh yeah. Yep.
But yeah, she's in a very religious, I don't know if the whole town's religious, but she's very involved in the religious community. And then we start the book with an abortion and kind of the fallout of that and finding out how she got there.
Yeah.
Okay. Danielle popped in as well. Ruby didn't read, but she's listening to our thoughts, so she'll be fully spoiled by the end of this. Okay. Do we want to talk about ratings?
Yes.
Okay.
Do it.
You tell me.
All right. So I kind of waffled between a 4 and a 3.5, but I did end up settling on a 3.5.
Okay.
Yeah, that feels right to me.
Okay. I was more at the 3 to 2.5 debating in there, and I did give it a 2.5. That's that is my middle of the road rating. I give a lot of low ratings, so I feel like sometimes I hover more towards low than high anyway. But for me, mostly just it felt very cookie cutter of the story of the retelling, and I don't know, I also haven't read that much YA lately, and I was debating whether I thought this would be good for people of that age. And while I do think it would, it is a little bit I think there may be better examples of this same message in this specific one.
Right. Yeah. No, I mean, for me, I think one of the things was that I was trying to separate the book from the thoughts it was causing me to have,
Oh,
where I was like, "Oh, this is really thought-provoking, it's really making me think about my opinions on this
yeah,
and that," but I'm like, but the book itself was just
yeah.
like,
I
"Meh."
mean, like, it makes me mad, right? Like, the whole thing, the whole
Right.
storyline, especially as it goes, makes me really mad, but, yeah, writing style type conversations are I don't know, especially when I think about, like, what would this author write next? Because I think you can't really write this same story over and over again.
Right.
I'd be curious where she goes as an author after this, which does she have any other books out?
I have no idea, I have not looked at her. I'm assuming this was her debut novel at the very least.
I'm almost positive it was.
Well, it says she is the author of The Chance You Won't Return,
Oh,
which I don't know what that is, so maybe it's not even her debut.
Annie Cardi. Oh, yeah, that's from 2014. So she released The Chance You Won't Return in 2014, this in 2024, and it looks like she has maybe she's just into retellings because she has something coming in 2026 that is like a Shakespeare retelling.
Okay. Yeah. I'm trying to see. What does it say?
So I don't know.
Mm,
Okay. Martine gave it a 4, and Danielle also gave it a 4, and they hardly ever rate stuff the same. So
yeah,
Martine.
wow.
Okay, should we start spoiling plot points?
Yeah, let's
Where
do it.
where do I want to start? This is my fault because I never come prepared. Do we want to go right into spoiling?
I think
I don't know if that's the right place to start.
right.
I
I mean,
think there's some discussion to be had about maybe her circumstances with the abortion and everybody's reaction. Because I think that throughout the story, she was getting a lot of like negative reactions. There was a way that everybody knew, like almost right away, she comes to school, there is the A on her locker, and everybody kind of knows what happened. But her mom had taken her to do this, and
mhm,
her mom was a really supportive person through the whole thing. I was surprised how willing her mom was to let go, like how this had happened to her, like just took her to get this abortion and
right,
then was like done with asking more questions about it. But I think that was a great example of she did have her mom, for the most part, being a good supportive, doing the
right,
right thing for her daughter and standing up for her against other people who were trying to make her feel bad about it.
right. Yeah. And I mean, obviously, they were in that position where they were living with their grandparents
Yeah.
because of financial issues. And, they had that sense of security with their grandparents. And her mother was more than willing to walk out of that house in that secure situation to support her daughter.
Yeah.
Um, and I mean, her mother definitely was less religious than her. She didn't like
Mhm.
that town as much. She didn't like
Yeah.
their beliefs, the church, her parents as
Mhm.
much. And I was a little surprised that she didn't push a little bit more on who the father was, but I think that her main concern was like as long as it wasn't like a violent, like a sexual assault
Right.
situation, she was like, well, it's your privacy and
Yeah.
everything. And I know that Tess mentioned once that she realized that despite all the bad things that happened and the fact that she was in the situation, she was privileged that she had a person who was willing
Mm.
to drive and pay
Mhm.
far away to get an abortion because there's so many people who just don't have that.
Yeah.
So, I'm glad that she brought that up because she was like, this is a sucky situation, but
Yeah.
at least I was able to get one and I wasn't forced to be a teen mom when I clearly wasn't ready to
Yeah.
be.
Yeah. The unraveling of I guess, like, I right away didn't find it, was frustrated that the storyline of who the father was wasn't at least laid out for the reader, but then as that comes to light, I was like furious.
See, for me, it was different, and I think it's because I read the Scarlet Letter that I knew who the father was from the very beginning. And I was almost like, wait, are we supposed to be keeping this a secret? Because she would be like, I'm hanging out with all these random people and Alden and and Alden. And I was like, this is the only name you're dropping.
Oh, right.
And
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure in the Scarlet Letter, it was like that priest. And so he was the what was he, the youth minister or whatever?
Yeah.
I was like, it's pretty obvious that it was him. So I felt, at least for someone who has read the story, for other people, I was like, it might not be. I just already know if it is a retelling, that's probably the direction.
Still, like, pretty early in the book where we start getting like, we know that it's Alden.
Right.
So for anybody who didn't read the book, aka Ruby, who's still hopefully sitting here, it was like her youth minister's baby.
Yeah.
And it was, she definitely thought they were in a relationship. And then throughout the story, we find out that obviously this is not the first nor the last time that he has done this to other young girls as well.
Yeah. And he was like in his 20s, and I was like, she was like 16, you nasty man.
I mean, we get like pretty detailed accounts of their, like, some of the time they've spent together too, and it is just like, yuck. That's a lot of that is also why I'm not sure I would want my teenagers to like directly read something like this. It was almost like too, I don't know.
Yeah, it's hard with stories like this because on the one hand, you really got to see how someone like this manipulates a teen girl. And unfortunately, as a teen girl, you need to know these things so that you can see the signs.
Yeah. There was a lot of grooming, to the point of like, you could tell that he uses the same lines on like everybody.
Yeah.
It was pretty immediately obvious. It wasn't obvious to me till she was like, we were alone. But that's me just probably being oblivious. Yeah. Teenagers read because they need to recognize that behavior. And that it is dangerous. Correct. There's no reason a man in his 20s should want to be alone with you.
Definitely not.
Yeah. Okay. We should talk a little bit about her friends' reactions. Because that was hard for me. I, blanket statement out there, am not religious. And so the reactions that like literally every single person was like, we want nothing to do with you, is wild. It made me so sad that like, obviously until the story goes on, she really had nobody who even just wanted to be like nice to her about it at all.
Right. Yeah.
Like, we immediately had, I'm trying to think of the girl's name that she was close with before, that's like doesn't
the two friends were Bree,
that was like
the grocery store, and then Lily was the more problematic one. Yeah.
Lily, I think, is who I'm thinking of. I don't know. Some of that also just doesn't feel realistic to me. Because I think teenagers inherently are nosier than that.
Right. I mean, to a degree, she would talk a lot about how people would want to know who the father was. There was that Roger guy who's just like, I want to help you. I want to help you so bad. Just tell me who the father is. Just tell me. And I was like, how does that help her? You know, like clearly you don't want to help her. And then, of course, when it came out that he was the one who sent the text in the video that let people know that she had an abortion and spray painted, like he was one of those guys one of those nice guys. Like,
Mhm.
why didn't she come to me if she wanted to be in a relationship? Like, I was just so nice to her. Like, why was she like
Yeah.
Roger? Yeah, no. I hated Roger so
Right.
much. Yeah, no. So he was I mean, I feel like one of the things that I really noticed throughout this story was that there was a lot of talk about you did the wrong thing, you're a bad
Mm,
person,
mhm.
I believe this, blah, blah, blah. Yet they were being like their actions made them bad people. And her, on the other hand, like, there were a lot of situations where, like, she was keeping Alden secret, even though he
Mhm.
did nothing to deserve that. That situation in the grocery store where that creeper was talking to Bree and she
Mm,
stood up for
mhm.
her,
Yeah, I
and she's
like
like, "I
that.
don't
That
know
was
if she
one
would
of
do the
my
same."
favorite scene.
Yeah. She was, like, constantly proving that she, through her actions, was a better person than all
Like,
these other
despite
people
what
that were.
everybody was saying, she
Yeah.
had her own opinions, yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
And I think that's also, like, her coming from her mom, who was very supportive, and battling this religious community that she's been getting into.
Right. Yeah.
I think their reaction in terms of the words they said was very realistic, especially parroting back what they hear adults say in specific religious communities. Yeah, it's hard for me to
Right. Yeah, as someone
completely
who, like,
understand that.
didn't grow up in that, it's
Well, I
always
just had,
hard.
like, voices from so many different angles where it wasn't just like, I definitely have religious people in my life.
Right.
Those weren't the only voices I would hear, you know?
Yeah. But, like, you kind of heard her say, like, with that teen what were they called? The teen Grace Teen Life. Like, they mostly hung out with each other, so they kind of, at least her friends,
Yeah,
were in a little bit of an echo chamber there.
yeah,
So that probably played into it. But I mean, we also saw that it wasn't just the religious people. I mean, she would constantly talk about the boys being like, she might want to give me a blowjob because she's clearly a hoe,
yeah,
like because she had an abortion, like she got
yeah,
pregnant once, she's suddenly like some sort of slut.
right.
Like it's a whole social issue, not just with the church and everything.
Martine saying that all the men gave them the ick. Every single one. I did appreciate that our main character grappled with her own faith, and that her conclusion was not that her faith was bad, but that her religious institution fostered a harmful environment, not faith itself. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
Like, because the other option was because her mom was supportive, like, her
Mhm.
mother would have taken her and completely removed her from these surroundings, and
Right.
the main character was really fighting to still, like, have her place here and, like, help these people learn, which is not a 16-year-old's job. Like,
Yeah. No, I usually enjoy when that's kind of the outcome. I mean, like American Rapture did kind of the same thing where you see the flaws within your religious organization, and you seek to fix that in yourself and
mhm,
possibly within your community, which, like you said, is not a teen's job. And
yeah,
that was one of the things that I noticed throughout this book is that it was the victims who had to stand up and do something about it.
yeah,
When they have this all powerful organization
yeah,
that knew about it, and it was just these little tiny, victims that had like no resources
yeah,
that had to do it, which is not how it should be for
right.
sure.
This comment I find interesting, like, now that you've said that out loud, um,
Mhm.
that they don't think it's an anti-faith book, but did call many people of faith out. Um, yeah, I did more get the vibe that the author was religious. I guess now that I'm thinking about that, like,
Yeah, I would
it
say
was
so.
definite like, I don't know how else to say that. Like, she wasn't completely she was trying to make the church What am I trying to say?
I mean, I know in her author's note that she pointed out that she grew up religious, but that there were a lot of things that she heard in
Okay.
the church that she did not agree with.
Okay.
So I think she definitely is someone who has a relationship with God, but
Mhm.
is like the institution itself,
Okay.
or she's just like, there's some stuff you guys are saying
Like
that
her
I
thing.
don't like.
Okay.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay.
Definitely.
I'm reading another book that's like heavily a character is really involved in a church, so I'm trying to make sure that I'm like separating the two
Yeah.
in my mind right now. Which like that character is like an old lady, but I want to talk about Bree, the other friend that actually like ends up being supportive of her.
Yeah.
Um, and I think that again was the other good example of like Bree also didn't want to be her friend when she found out and was like being very careful around her because everybody else was thinking so negatively about Tess. But as
Mhm.
they had more interactions, and I feel like Bree again is being reminded, relearning that Tess like is a good person and a good friend and wasn't evil for doing this thing. And then I think also is starting to realize like what happened here. Um that was really interesting to see and
Right. Yeah, I feel like Bree's character was kind of, the person that maybe deep down doesn't agree with some of the things that the church is saying, but
mm,
because they're within that group, they kind of just follow what that group is saying
yeah,
more out of obligation or maybe even fear of being ostracized
yeah,
themselves.
yeah.
And then kind of throughout the story, putting that aside and really putting their own thoughts and feelings
Mhm.
first and looking at what is actually happening rather than doing what they're told
Yeah,
and kind of basing their behavior off of like what they are observing
yeah.
themselves.
I also think like a good example of somebody who like is involved in religion, is religious, and like to them that means being a good person, like
Mhm.
being a compassionate person.
Yeah.
Uh, and yeah, like even from the beginning when she's still trying to like avoid Tess, kind of, I'm not sure avoid's the right word. She's still like when Tess wants to get the job is like I would never interfere with you getting this job,
Right.
or like I like they are working fine together at the same time, and then she slowly does start to like see other people. There's a customer who comes through the line that doesn't want Tess to check out their items, like they're basically blatantly like calling her out,
Right.
an adult in
Right.
the store, and like Bree has her back then, and then there's a lot more that happens in the store
Right. Yeah.
that I feel like builds their relationship to them eventually being somebody that Tess like does feel like is a friend again and tells about who the father is and what's going on here.
Yeah.
Also, to move on from that, like more towards the end of the book, the like situation of once we and like a lot of the people have found out that it was Alden, the lack of action really, really got me. Like, put that man in cuffs, not just like, oh, you
Right.
can't work at the church anymore.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, no, that's kind of like what I was saying with like it's left to the victims where, especially when they found out that he had been removed from another church
Yeah.
because of actions he took. I was like, what do you and I feel you hear that unfortunately about the church that they move these people around and I'm like, no. You need to kick them out or
Right,
lock them up and not just be
right.
like, okay, now you can go mess with someone
To the
else's
next
kids.
town. Well, and just like the heart drop when
Right.
we first find out that he's like talking to another young girl.
Yeah. I forget what her name was, but like Kayla or whatever,
I don't
but when
remember
he
either.
was with her, oh my gosh. I was like, I'm so glad that Tess interfered with that.
Yeah,
That she didn't just stand there and let it happen, that she was like,
yeah.
no, I'm gonna stop that. Yeah,
He
gross.
did the world's worst background check on that man. Yeah, like, in the end when you find out, like, because there's the girl he's, like, currently talking to, and then the one that, like, I don't remember, did she just, like, stop going to the church?
Reagan, yeah.
Like, it just all seems so obvious.
Right.
Like, so now we're on the 3rd one at this same church.
Right.
Like, it just all seems obvious. Cheyenne has joined us. Hi, Cheyenne. Feel free to tell us your rating. Yeah, didn't scare him enough.
Yeah, he was clearly very confident in the control that he had over these
Yeah.
women. Yeah, and like she said, like over the years he's practiced. This
Yeah.
is something he's practiced and gotten pretty skilled at. It definitely should have never gotten to this point.
Ick.
So
Also, like, are we so for real not using protection? That's crazy.
and then he like tried to turn it around. He was like, I thought you were gonna doing like birth control or something. And she's like, I'm just a teenage girl. Like, I thought you knew it, like what was going on. And he was like really
Like,
trying to like put the
you're the adult.
Yeah.
Ooh. Cheyenne gave it a 4.5.
Oh,
I think
nice.
that might be the highest one that has been said. Him blaming her. Yeah, ick.
Yeah.
But I also feel like that's a level of control too, like to try to get your victims to stay quiet because they feel guilt, like it was their fault.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know, one thing I thought it was interesting about that situation is that clearly they're part of a church that was like, no abortion, no abortion.
Oh, yeah.
But when she said that, he never once was like, don't you dare get an abortion.
Oh,
no, he was like, if I benefit from it,
yeah.
he was all on board for that. He's like, whatever you need to do.
That's a pretty common concept in all spaces.
Yeah.
Other people can't, but if you needed it. Exactly. And you should be in jail.
Hopefully is, since Reagan was going to court with it. But of course, you know, with those situations, it's always hard. Takes years. And of course, I feel like with those situations, like I'm glad Tess took the time to kind of step back and be like, do I want to do this? Because it is very uncomfortable for victims. Like I read Know My Name by Chanel Miller. Like we know that that is not something to take on very lightly, especially as a young woman.
Mm-hmm.
So scary stuff.
I don't know. Is there anything else I've forgot to bring up?
The one thing I wanted to talk about is like in the synopsis, it was mentioning those friends that she makes in the music room.
Oh,
you know, the ones that
I completely forgot about that whole concept.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah, I was like, well, it was because it was such a small, almost unimportant part of the story, which I thought was surprising considering it made it into the synopsis. And I was like, part of me was like, I kind of understand the role that they played, that she knew that not everyone was against her.
Okay,
and people, but like also they were kind of just like there.
Everybody was a little bit of a caricature, which is why I think I'm thinking that this just felt so cookie cutter. Because I felt like it was like stereotypical predator, stereotypical innocent victim, stereotypical church who like everybody thinks the same thing, stereotypical other group of friends who don't care, but nobody was like that.
Right. They're all two-dimensional. Yeah, it's kind of, yeah.
Like if you tried to make this book a movie, it would be a 20-minute movie. Like that's how I felt. Like just nothing was that deep.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I get
Like, it's
that.
heavy topics, but just not, I don't know. Does that make sense?
Right. Yeah, I mean, I was trying to think of like some of the themes of this book, and I mean, it definitely talks like about the importance of support systems and community because it shows her making these friends who
Mhm.
kind of in a way give her a safe space to heal, and then she creates the Scarlet Project in hopes of
Yep.
giving other people the safe space to heal. Um, and we do get to see some of the positive impacts of that, like especially because you see so many people from the church go there, and eventually that conversation she has with her grandmother,
Mhm.
um, who was very fearful of this change, and then
Mhm.
eventually said a very relatable line of, nothing more than no other woman has gone through. And I was like, I have said that line when people ask, like, have you ever experienced anything? I'm like,
Mhm.
nothing more than any other woman has. And that's a very sad reality.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
definitely important to have that.
Okay.
Also, like the exploration of finding self-worth within yourself,
Mm.
like when she was working on her music. Because before it was very clear that she was trying to get it through Alden and the church,
Mhm.
and finding your self-worth through an outside source can
Mhm.
definitely be dangerous.
Yeah. I do think overall, like, the story was about her finding her strength in choosing whether she wanted to let go of that community or
Right.
not. Making music together. I can't believe I, like, completely forgot about this whole friendship situation. That's what I'm saying, it's been too long since I read it. Because I do think that was, because I kept saying, like, she had no one who was supportive, which, like, she had these people who were supportive, but they didn't really know, like, the whole scope of everything either.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I think they were kind of supportive in the way that she could just be a normal teenage girl
Right, like,
around
they
her.
were
She didn't
willing
have
to
to
be her
talk
friend
about it.
despite.
Yeah.
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 Right, like, this thing isn't a big deal to everybody, it's a big deal to, well, just the specific group that you're
Right. Yeah.
enmeshed in.
I was always like kind of trying to wrap my head around, like you said in the beginning, you're like, why are they making such a big deal out of this? Like, I literally,
Well,
to
like, I
me, I'm like,
understand that those spaces exist,
right,
but it's not how my brain works.
right.
But that's more common than we would like to believe.
Yeah, it is, unfortunately. Yeah. I mean, I definitely see that this is the kind of book that could be banned, which, in
Oh,
my opinion, makes it the kind of book that maybe a teen could
yeah.
read. And it might seem a little surface level, but for like a teenager,
Yeah,
sometimes getting those things like right in your face to make sure you don't miss
is
the
common.
messaging can be
Yeah.
good.
Good for discussion probably at that age.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like we all are showing up here to discuss it with fully formed frontal lobes and thoughts, but sometimes it just needs inserted into the brain to be.
Right. Yeah. But
Alright. I don't have anything else, I don't think.
yeah, I think I covered most of my thoughts for this
Yeah.
book. Yeah. I mean, not as much of a home run as the last book I chose, The Spirit Bears Its
Yeah,
Teeth.
that I loved. And,
Yeah,
like, he
that
still, I
was,
have read multiple more books by them now, so.
yeah, no. But I figured it would be a good discussion piece, especially with all the issues around abortion and
Yeah,
more religious extremism growing a
yeah,
little bit more prominent.
yeah.
So
No, I love stuff like that.
yeah,
There's actually stuff to discuss, and it's
yeah,
so fun.
yeah.
Has anybody read Have you read Andrew Joseph's why I can never say Joseph. Andrew Joseph White's new adult book? I haven't
No,
read it,
I
but I'm, like,
have.
so intrigued. I've seen really mixed reviews, and I've loved the YA, so I'm, like, a little
Mhm.
nervous.
Yeah, I'm definitely scared.
But I think his YA is also, like, a little, like, I think every time I've read one of those, I've been like, "This maybe is not actually YA," like,
Right.
characters are young, but it's, like, pretty brutal, where I'm like,
Mhm.
"What is making this expand to adult? Just character
Right.
age, or is
Yeah.
it even more?"
I have a feeling I've
I
heard it's pretty
would eventually
hardcore.
like to try it. I would like to read it.
Yeah, I still need to read Compound Fracture. I'm kind
I
of
did
I wanna
read that.
read that first. I am
Yeah.
scared for the adult.
I liked Compound Fracture, so I think that's a safe bet for you to go next.
Yes. Yeah.
Alright, well, next month we are reading Where the Axe is Buried by I'm always so prepared, guys. Where the Axe is Buried by Ray Naylor, which is a sci-fi dystopian thriller. So I'm excited for that. And Martine picked that. So I'll get those chats posted today. I'm prepared. I'm prepared with the information to post those chats. I just haven't done it yet. So I'll do that by the end of today. Hold me to it, everybody. And yeah, we'll see you then.
All
Thank
right.
you,
Well, thanks
Natalie.
for
Again,
reading this with me.
yeah. And thank you for choosing a book again.
Yes.
I will be updating the spreadsheet with my rating, and then I try to do anybody who said theirs here. But if you want to enter your ratings as well, I think that's always fun.
All right.
Okay.
Perfect.
Bye.
All right. Thank you. Bye.